Good morning, good afternoon, welcome. If you're watching the replay of this stream, go ahead and skip forward to about the 6-minute mark. That's when I should be kicking things off. I'm just getting everything live, getting audio tested, making sure the stream is buffered in, and then I'm gonna go live and I'll get everything started with everyone else. So again, give it about 6 minutes. You can skip ahead. Otherwise, you can hang out with me behind the scenes. I'm just kind of chilling, getting everything set up. So welcome. You're free to hang out. Otherwise, I'll see you in 6 minutes. Let's take a look here. Ah, okay. That's the way to do it. All right. No. Come back. It's weird. All right, we are gonna get started here. I'm gonna take this live in 3, 2, 1, and we are live. So I will give people time to come in, and we will get things going here. So we're gonna give everyone a little bit of time to come into the chat, and then I'll get things started. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the new setup. Hopefully it's cleaner for you. Hopefully the picture is cleaner for you. Hopefully we have less mic issues. I know we were having some issues with the mic dropping. I apologize for that. I did some research. Turns out that's just something that YouTube streaming does. So I have switched the whole layout. I'm going through a whole new streaming service now. So hopefully the quality and everything is coming through a lot better for you all. Welcome, George. Welcome. Good morning. Good morning. I'm just giving people some time to get in before I get started here. Got a new layout, new setup. Hopefully it's nice and clean for you all. Hopefully the mic and audio is crisp as we get started and get ready to go. It is a little bit different for me because I'm streaming through a different platform, so bear with me. But I still think it should be good. I practiced it. I tested it. We should be good to go. So who else do we have in here this morning other than George? Good morning, George. Appreciate you for joining us this morning. And as soon as I get a couple more people in here, we will get going. Let me pull this up here so I can see what we're dealing with. Let's see. It does not say. Darn. That's unfortunate. Okay, that's fine. We'll go here. All right. It's been about, what, 2 minutes? We've been live for about 2 minutes. I should probably get going here. Do we have anyone else in the stream yet? I can't see how many people are in the stream from this streaming software. I don't like that. But again, we will we'll get started here and get underway in just a minute. Let's take a look here. Give it just one more minute for a couple more people to get in here and we will get started. It is ETF launch day. We have a lot of information to cover. We have lots of things and I will cover all of it. I am stoked. We already have some good on sound 6. All right, perfect, William. Thank you. We have a lot going on today. We have 2, maybe 3 ETFs. We're still curious about 21 shares. Has not been officially announced by the exchange, and it doesn't look like it's going to since it's 8:34 already. But we do for sure have Grayscale and Franklin Templeton. I've already confirmed those are live, listed, and actually already confirmed some of the XRP in one of those ETFs, which is really, really exciting. So good on sound 6-8. Oh, William, I appreciate you. We got 8 in the stream. We will go ahead and get started. I appreciate that, William. You're big help. Thank you. Let's take a look here. So we are here. Let's go ahead and get started. As always, if it's your first time, sit back, relax. I'm not going to ask you to do anything. But if it's your second time, you need to hit subscribe, smash the like button, interact in the chat. I appreciate every single one of you. The better the chat goes, the better the stream goes. The more I get to talk to you guys and engage, the better. I do a lot better on the fly. Once my research is gone, I can talk about anything. Honestly, it's one of my best skills. And even though I do have memory issues, I have a lot of information stored about XRP, finance, macroeconomics, all of those things that I can regurgitate on a dime. So let's get into it. We will go ahead and start with our price action. And moving into the price action, we ran up over the weekend. We've had a good start to the day already. It's currently 8:35. The market's been open for 5 minutes. Again, we have discussed many times the first 15 minutes of the market can set up manipulation. So we are looking now exactly what the thumbnail indicates for this video. Are we looking at a breakout or a fake out? Are we finally going to bust back up above 220, or are we going to have a sell the news event? That's what we're looking at. And if we want to take a look at the actual market structure, right, the structure of XRP itself, you can see we are nearing overbought. So there's a very good chance we could run up here and then fall, or we could push through for further price discovery like we saw on a previous stream. So anyone who, this is an important topic, I think, personally. This is important in the sense that me, myself, and anyone else on here does not know what's going to happen. We can look at every metric. We can look at every catalyst. We can look at every indicator under the sun. No one knows what exactly is going to happen. But what we are looking at, what I'm looking at, is I'm looking at what I know mechanically and functionality wise will improve price one way or another. And those are the things that I track. So can I tell you the price is going to go up or fall today? No, I can't. I mean, I wish I could. I would be a very rich person and would not be on YouTube, and so would anyone else. So if anyone's on YouTube telling you they know what's going to happen, just for thought, for context, I don't know what's going to happen just as much as the next guy knows what's going to happen or next woman knows what's going to happen. But I do know we have 4 ETFs live as of today, and all of those are taking in XRP, and we have a limited supply. I have preached that to you guys on and on and on. And amidst all of this, right? Amidst all of this, if we look at the Fear and Greed Index, it's still at a 12. I mean, we've been tracking this thing for a week now, and it hasn't got above, 16, I think? So massive fear in the markets, massive psychological fear in the markets. And this is typically when there's blood in the streets. This is typically when the whales are buying. We discussed a $3.1 billion purchase of XRP, 1.8 billion XRP purchased by one buyer in a period of 24 hours a few days ago during the whale sell-off. So there's a shelf there. There is demand. Demand is increasing with these ETFs. And that's what we want to talk about. So what do we have live today? We have Franklin Templeton and Grayscale going live today. 2 of the biggest ETF issuers, period. Of course, aside from BlackRock, etc. So if we look at these, let me pull it up for you. If we look at what we are actually working with today, let's take a look at, here we go, boom. Let's see, let me scroll. This is Franklin Templeton, this is XRPZ. And if we scroll down here, where is it? Come on. I saw it here earlier. Was under the pricing, or maybe it was under Grayscale, not Franklin Templeton. One of them showed me what they actually had in holding. Yeah, Franklin Templeton does not show what XRP they have in fund yet. Let me refresh it. Maybe it updated in the last 10 minutes since I pulled this up. I pulled this up right before the stream because I wanted to make sure I had it available for you guys. Yeah, Franklin Templeton's still not showing what XRP they have in the fund, but Grayscale is. I saw theirs. So if we switch over to Grayscale, you can see where to go. I had it pulled up. Assets under management, 11,673,329 assets under management. Total XRP in the trust, 6,017,000 to start day one. So I'll be really curious to see what this number changes to day throughout the week, because we can actually see effectively how much XRP is being removed from supply, and that is the important thing. So right now we can see they have 6 million. We can track this and see what they do moving forward. But that being said, we've had 2 live for a while. Let's just check in and see what those are doing. So I want to go to Canary Capital. I pulled this up yesterday. I'm going to refresh it here in a second. I pulled this up yesterday in preparation for this stream. But XRP, 146,137,000 XRP removed by Canary Capital in its first, 2 weeks, a week during a crash, first full week during a crash. 146 million. Imagine what's happening if the market is doing well and these ETFs are pulling in inflows. So that's pretty exciting right there. Bitwise. Let's see. Bitwise XRP ETF. Let me see. Bitwise I updated. Currently XRP and Trust. This was yesterday, 59 million. Let me refresh it, see if it's updated. No, it's currently still at 59 million. They haven't updated it since yesterday. So we have Canary Capital that pulled off 140-ish million. We have Bitwise that's pulled off 60 million in a couple days. I mean, it wasn't even live for a full week. So, I mean, Bitwise took off 60 million XRP in a couple days. Franklin Templeton, Grayscale live today. Franklin Templeton, Grayscale? It was Grayscale, has already pulled 6 million XRP off of exchanges. This is what I'm getting hyped about. And we still got 2 more confirmed coming. We still have 21 shares and we still have Wisdom Tree. 21 shares could be going live any day. They could go live officially as of today. It's ultimately up to the exchange. They got their SEC approval last week. They've been tweeting out on X all kinds of hints, things like that. So really, I expect 21 shares this week. Wisdom Tree was rumored by Bloomberg to be out tomorrow. But I haven't seen anything on Wisdom Tree over the weekend or today. It's been all about Franklin Templeton and Grayscale. So that's 4 ETFs live, and we're seeing that they have easily the potential to pull 50, 60, 100 million XRP off of the available supply in one day. So let's take a look at our price. The question is, will it get us up in price? That's what everyone wants to know. When does the price go up? I have always said that I believe that once these ETFs go live and we have a steady pull of XRP from supply, the supply and demand dynamic will continue to force prices up. I mean, it's a matter of time. When you have this much XRP being removed from the available supply, now again, that's assuming that no one's selling their XRP, which people are. But again, I mean, you're losing 300, 400 million XRP a week to ETFs from supply during bad market times, really. I mean, think of how horrible we are now. So we're talking about a horrible spot market and XRP just being pulled off. So again, as soon as that supply starts getting thin, and honestly, there was I didn't pull it up here. I should have pulled it up. There's a lot more, and again, it's stuff I already reported on, but they're recircling the news again. And there's several articles about XRP shortages and Binance losing XRP from supply. Coinbase has been losing it. But I mean, I just looked up XRP shortage on exchange and you get 15 different websites. Which one's real, which one's not. That's the difficult part. But we have checked multiple different sources, multiple different at multiple different times, and we keep seeing roughly, the same numbers as far as like 4 to 5% of the actual available supply is truly available on exchanges, and roughly 3 to 6 billion XRP is what's available on exchanges. We have looked at multiple sites, multiple AI, multiple everything to come to these numbers. So if we have 3 to 6 billion XRP left on exchanges, and we have roughly 300 million XRP a week coming off of exchanges and ETFs during a bad market, again, that's a conservative number. 300 million is a conservative number considering we lost 200 million from 2. We're about to have 4 live and soon to be 6. They're pulling it off of OTC and dark pool, I think, not in exchanges. Yes, you are 100% correct, but what people don't understand, okay, the OTCs and dark pools come from the exchanges. They do. Now, they can also go to private money makers as well and authorized participants, and that's what I discussed in the last live stream, was that $3.1 billion wall of purchasing that happened at the $1.75 level. that has moneymaker written all over it. So that's why I came to the conclusion, again, not financial advice. Nothing here is financial advice. This is for educational and entertainment purposes only. But that's where I came to the conclusion that the $1.75 level is our new floor. That's our new support, because there's so much buying pressure waiting there to swoop all that up for these ETFs. And we have seen it not once, but twice. During the October 10th crash, and then the other day when it got down to $1.75 last week when we had the crash and the major pullback from Bitcoin. We've talked about Bitcoin and XRP decoupling potentially coming here in the near future. I have anyway, because that's part of my initial thesis is that in order for XRP to decouple, Bitcoin's going to have to crash. It's just going to have to. They're not both going to keep going up and one decouple from the other. There's going to be some pain in the market, and because crypto follows Bitcoin, when that happens, there's going to be pain for all of crypto. And I think we're seeing the beginnings of that right now. And I can pull that up for you again if you missed it all week, because I've pulled it up a few times. But I pulled up the volume of Bitcoin since the beginning of Bitcoin versus now in contradiction to the price. And you can see a vast, stark, scary look if you actually take a minute and look at it from a macro perspective. I'll bring it up for you guys. I think it's very important, and I've been beating it because I do think it's important. So here's XRP. We're back. We're falling down to 206.3. We had our pump up at the launch. It looks like we may be dealing with a sell the news event. Hopefully we can hold the $2 line. This is what's going to be important. If we can set a new floor, if we can set a new resistance and not fall back under $2, that is going to open the door to some price appreciation this week as we continue to get these ETF inflows. And I agree with you, Aunt French. I do think we're going to see a detachment soon, but I think that comes following a significant amount of pain for the market. And I'm just trying to prepare people for that. You think it's from the supply shock. Okay. I do think we do have supply shock brewing as well. I beat that ad nauseum. I've pulled up all the XRP that's been removed from exchanges, from the ETFs that we do have right now. And we can kind of get an idea of what to expect moving forward over the weeks to come on what's effectively going to be removed week to week to week, and how that's going to impact the supply and how that's going to impact the price, because everyone wants to know price. It's the number one question I get asked all the time. When moon, when moon. And I have always said, I believe the price will start to appreciate end of November, going into December, through the end of the year. And hey, we've got 4 ETFs and the price went up 16 cents over the weekend, and it looks like it's climbing. Hopefully I'm right. We will find out. I would love for this to bounce off the $2 line because it makes me look more right, but I really don't know what's going to happen. My opinion, not financial advice. But that being said, I want to pull this up because I think I'm going to pull this up in every stream, because I really don't think enough people. I believe 2 digits is certainly possible by end of year. And Aunt French, if you just came into the stream a second ago, I actually answered that question. I said I thought $1.75 was going to be the floor based on the buying support we have at that $1.75 level over the last week. Let's see here. So Kraken price glitch was this. Yeah, it was just a glitch. No big deal. That happens. 27 bucks. I've been saying 15 to 25 is possible depending on supply shock and macroeconomic events. But BTC, I want you guys to see this just for context. Okay, this is the BTC chart, and you can see, actually, if we want to talk about decoupling, this is BTC on the 1 hour interval. You can see the chart. If I pull up XRP and look at the chart, 15-minute interval, they look very similar, right? So as it stands right now, the rest of the crypto market goes as Bitcoin goes. But this is important. Okay, I'm going to go all time on XRP, so bear with me. And give me a minute to set up this story for you guys, okay? This is all time on XRP. You can see here, this is, what year is this? This is what date? This is March of 2021. Okay, you can see this volume we were getting in March of 2021. You can see this volume we were getting here. There, you can see this volume. I don't know if you can after my picture's covering. You can see a little bit of this volume over here. Okay, so there's steady volume, and you can see volume increasing down here. So there's all kinds of different steady volume pops for XRP as we go along. And you can see the overall price of XRP. But if we look at Bitcoin, and this is what is going to be eye-opening for you. if we look at Bitcoin's volume since its inception, you can see very clearly what's been happening with Bitcoin. Bitcoin here, max volume, this was its peak right at the beginning of its inception. There was lots of volume happening with Bitcoin, and it has been a steady decline followed by a drop off after January of 2022. And then we had this massive price appreciation of Bitcoin with no volume behind it for years, for about 3 years. This is what a bubble looks like, guys. Not trying to be Chicken Little. I'm just trying to show you something most people aren't looking at. Hollow volume means pop. It is an option. My opinion, not financial advice. I could be very wrong, but when you're also talking about them changing the classification of these trust companies, right? Of these treasury companies like MicroStrategies and stuff like that, that would destroy Bitcoin. If those treasury companies have to reclassify as a fund, oh my gosh, man. There will be blood and fear in the streets like we haven't seen in the crypto market in a long time. My opinion, not financial advice. So you can kind of see where I'm getting at from my theory of supply shock and potential decoupling from Bitcoin. This is how I think it's going to happen. Me personally, not financial advice. I believe that come January, when the reclassification happens or doesn't happen, and when we get clarity. So if this gets, if this comes to pass and Bitcoin treasuries have to be reclassified as funds, and XRP gets clarity to be used as a bridge asset in January, which we're expecting both of these things to happen in January, right? ISO 20022 just went live this last weekend. That's underway now. We have ETFs in play that could potentially force a supply shock. So if price starts to rise and then they get clarity and they get their bank charter and they can turn on the utility while the rest of the market is crashing, there's your decoupling. My opinion, not financial advice. That's how I think it's going to happen. I think we're going to start to see a rise in price through December into January. And if those things come to pass, bank charter, treasury reclassification, those things come to happen as we're removing supply from XRP, things have the ability to get spicy. My opinion, not financial advice. But that is my theory. That is my thesis. That is what I am looking for. You guys have been very active in chat. I appreciate all of you. And again, if you are new to the channel, kick back, relax. I'm not going to ask you to do anything, but I will tell all of you, especially all my regulars who are in here, the more active the chat is, the more you guys like the stream, the more active you are in the chat, the more people will come in and we'll get more chat, and then we can just snowball this thing. But that is all of the information that I had prepared for you. We covered the fear and greed index. We covered the inflows. We covered the prices. We covered the timelines. We covered BTC decoupling from XRP and what that potentially could look like. And then I'm also going to go through this chat and answer anything that you guys have. So make sure that you're asking questions and getting involved. And I'm going to pull XRP back up on the chart so we can keep an eye on it while I'm going through these questions as we get these inflows coming in. So we're still currently at 2066 right now, and we'll keep an eye on. And real quick, before I get into the questions, I'm going to show this to you guys because this is fun. If you guys remember, if you've been with me for a while, I drew this line. I drew this line a long time ago. It was for December 4th. And this was basically, if you look at it, if you scroll out, this was kind of my theory on what could happen as inflows come in, and you can see this pattern of XRP and what it does. And I projected roughly December 4th would be right around the next spike, depending on what happens with ETFs and clarity and all those things. I was hoping for bank charter in December. I still really think this line is going to be indicative on a bank charter for it to shoot straight up like this. But again, it's still exciting to look at. My opinion, not financial advice, but I think this day is on the horizon. It's a matter of time, in my opinion. All right, so let's take a look. I am going through the chat right now. I appreciate all of you for being active. William, again, I appreciate you helping me with the sound. I'm going to go ahead and take a look. The price surge on Kraken to what, $91. How would they immediately drop the price back down, and why wait? why now let the price go? So that was a glitch. Those glitches happen, and that usually happens from order filling issues. And I actually did some research on this, and if you go back and look, you can find it online. But if you go back and look, the Kraken price glitch, yeah, it filled an order for 92,000 or whatever, but then it turned around and filled an order for 0.0002. So what it is a matter of where they were pulling different XRP to fill the order, and it balances out. It really does. It looks like a price glitch, but it's just the weird way they shuffle it to balance out the order creation. So they may have purchased one XRP at 90,000 or whatever it was, but they also may have purchased 100,000 XRP at 0.002 to balance it out. So that's kind of what's going on behind those price glitches, but it does give you insight into how large of orders are possible out there and what's actually happening. And why wait? Why not let the price go? Exactly. That's the question you need to ask yourself. Why wait and why not let the price go? And when people are talking about price suppression and price manipulation, that's what I always think of. I'm like, put myself in their shoes. If I had billions of XRP, why the heck would I suppress the price? Why wouldn't I? If I had billions of XRP, why wouldn't I wanted it 90 or whatever price it shot up to, $90,000, $9,000? I'd be a trillionaire. There's no reason to suppress the price unless there is a substantial reason to make more money later. That's really the only reason. Let's see here. They're pulling in OTC dark pool, I think, not in from exchanges. I touched on OTC and dark pools. Remember, dark pools do come from exchanges. They're just not shown in the spot order traffic. That's why we go in and we look at what XRP is actually being held in these ETFs. And you can go in and check day by day by day and see what's effectively being pulled off and what the change is between these ETFs, okay? So if you're trying to get real data, like the most concrete data, if you want to go look for yourself, for me, what I have found, the most concrete data is what's actually being held in these ETFs. That will show you exactly how much XRP they are holding from start to finish if you go back and track it. So you can physically see the XRP being removed from supply. My opinion, not financial advice, but that's what I look at. And I think that is the most direct line to see what's really happening behind the scenes with XRP. Good morning, Janine. Good morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome. XRP will detach soon, Ant French. I believe so. Could be. I think it's a combination of supply shock and volume, but we will see. I hope I'm wrong in that, because honestly, and I hope you guys understand that a lot of us have talked about the reverse carry trade. A lot of us have talked about the decoupling from Bitcoin. And as XRP holders, it's exciting because we can see the forest through the trees and we see the liquidity crisis. And as XRP holders, the worse things get, the better it is for us. The bigger problem we fix, the more money we make, right? Fix problems, that's how you make money. And XRP is fixing the biggest problems in money. That being said, if these things come to pass, there is going to be a lot of pain for a lot of people. I'm talking our entire economy. I'm talking people losing jobs. I'm talking people losing houses. I'm potentially huge inflation if they print us into oblivion and they try to do things like, print themselves out of debt, etc. So there's a lot of negative that comes along with this positive, guys. So just keep that in mind as we're talking about it, that our joy will be someone else's pain. Just throwing that out there. Let's see. But I believe 2 digits by end of year. George, I agree with you. I've always said that I think $15 to $25 is possible by the end of the year, depending on all the catalysts and inflows. And ultimately, the bank charter is going to be the biggest decision. I'm hoping we get a bank charter or a skinny Fed Master account next month so they can kick off everything going into January. They may wait. I don't know. They may wait for this reclassification of treasuries to crash Bitcoin before they do that. I don't know. But if the liquidity in Bitcoin goes, that's just adding to the reverse carry trade. That's a lot of negative pressure. Kraken price glitch was just that, a glitch. Ant French says $27. Brad Dixon, Robinhood limited me at 2,400 on XRP yesterday. Still locked out today. I've heard Robinhood's really low on XRP. The last purchase I made on Robinhood for XRP was only a few $100s for my daughter. That was a couple days ago. I made a purchase at 203. And that was over the weekend, I think. Whenever I made the post, I was transparent with it, my memory, sorry. But I made a purchase at 203. It was the last purchase I made for me that, you know, was of any consequence as far as price. It's weird. Coinbase has been limiting buys too. I don't know if only XRP, but seems interesting that's happening on exchanges. So now, so this is great. And this is how it begins. Not financial advice, but this is how it begins. When they start getting low, they start putting limits. And this is why many people at the beginning talked about removing your XRP from exchanges, because there was, if Jake Claver's scenario, or a lot of people have been discussing, comes to pass, one of the things that's going to happen is the asset will be delisted and it will not be available on exchanges anymore. And the first precursor to that is short supply, and they start limiting purchases. Now, again, do we know? No, we don't really know. But again, these are historically things that have happened. Not financial advice, but just something to think about when you're trying to read the tea leaves and connect the dots, okay? This historically has happened before an item was delisted. Let's take a look. Let me go back through these. Also, go to ZAO XRP. I'm not exactly sure what that is. I'll come back to that. Remind me on that, Aunt French. I'm gonna keep the momentum rolling here. And if someone could give me an update of how many people we have in the stream, it feels like. Sorry, I changed my broadcasting software, so I can't see how many people are in the stream right now. But feels like this is getting bigger to me. Maybe it's just me. I've just been sitting here talking and reading the chat and rambling with y'all, but it feels like the stream's been growing. So let me know. Someone give me an update here. Let's see. Let's see here. It's weird. Coinbase 1 billion can be released every month and sold OTCBI Ripple. That is not true. So here's the thing. Let me clarify this. And there's a lot of confusion around this. That's why the SEC case existed. All right. So they specifically said that the XRP is not a security as long as it's being sold for their technology. So they cannot go sell XRP as OTC or to ETF issuers. That would deem it a security. That makes it a security. They are only allowed to sell their escrow to business partners for the use of the technology, okay? And they can pre-sell it at today's prices. They've came out and said that. But again, they can only sell it to institutions who will be using the asset, not as a security. Just so you know, that is clear. That was what the whole SEC law case was about. So anyone telling you that they can turn around and sell to OTC counters are full of it. Not how it works. Sorry. Let's see here. Not true. I'm able to do my 5,000 max on Coinbase. Okay, so we did have someone able to get the 5,000. I think BTC to 20K. If we look at the chart that I pulled up, was it Sober Unboxing? If we pulled up the chart that I was looking at for BTC, and you see the volume, where the volume gets hollow is right about the 15 to 16,000 mark. So yeah, I think 20,000, potentially lower, is possible. Not financial advice. I'm not calling for it, but I do think that is possible. I think it might get down as low as 40, because here's the thing. Follow the money. Or as Chris Tucker said in Rush Hour, follow the rich white man. And they are not going to let themselves lose that much money. They're just not. There's way too much money wrapped into it. I think they'll find a way to slow the bleed until they can control what they want to control. My opinion, not financial advice, but follow the money. The money tells you where to go. Let's see here. Nice, that's good. Glad you aren't having issues. Me and 3 other people are, though, so I don't know. It's, it also could be regionally based too. It could be time based. It could be at the time that you went to make your purchase, they didn't have the XRP available, and the time someone else went to make a purchase, they did. There has to be a balance of the order book. Someone has to be selling in order to buy. So again, indicative, there could be decreasing supply on exchanges. Glad you aren't having issues. Okay, I already read that one. Oh, man. Where are we at? I think I'm way behind in chat. You guys have been super active. Sorry for that. I'm trying to get caught up where I am in the chat here. Let's see here. I think before Christmas. I would love to see it before Christmas. We were talking in the last stream about Jake Claver's Jake Claver's price prediction. If his price prediction of 750 by the end of the year does come to pass, there will be a long view compute party in Maui, and everyone is invited. That's what we talked about in the last stream. We came up with that. So if it does go to astronomical numbers by the end of the year, party in Maui. Let's take a look. Active exchanges are limiting your buy orders. It's because XRP is draining. Thank you for sharing. Your idea of how it's going down is super interesting. Let's see. How are the ETFs doing? I'll come up and update the ETFs here in a second. We'll take a look here and see what they're doing. Lunar cycles are a good thing to look at. Okay. I'm going to be honest with you, Aunt French. I'm a little, I don't want to say I'm triggered, but I do have a pain point when it comes to lunar cycles and moon cycles and witchcraft and all those things. My ex-wife went a little loopy on me the last 5 years and then decided to drain all my bank accounts when she divorced me. So I'm not, the whole witchcraft lunar cycles thing, I have a little bit of a pain point there. Let's take a look. Coinbase is limiting my XRP order due to my limited funds. Yeah, that's a good reason they would limit your orders. I think supply shock, RCT Japan, reverse carry trade Japan, if those you don't know, derivatives and global demand for XRP, ISO 20022 use, all of those things are real and in effect. And remember, this liquidity crisis and this pullback in price that we've been seeing started happening at the end of October when Japan turned around and said, we are hiking in December. And that's what started causing stress on the repo markets and all of those things. And I'm going to hop into the liquidity. But let's also not talk about during this, during this crash, we also had the Fed playing double dutch with rates. So we're going to cut. We're not going to cut. We're going to cut. We're not going to cut. Trump comes out and farts in the wind wrong and the price drops. I mean, everything is balancing on a knife. I haven't seen this much volatility in the market. Overall market, not just the crypto market, in the overall market, I haven't seen this much volatility. And I can't even remember when COVID and what happened after COVID. Not financial advice. Let's take a look. Do you think XRP and other crypto will stand on their own merit away from Bitcoin? I do. And I have been preaching that. I do. And I think that's when the great that's going to be part of the price appreciation, the great decoupling from Bitcoin, right? That's going to be part of the price appreciation. And that is not going to happen until utility turns on. They're going to need something to set them apart from Bitcoin. And I believe that's going to be the utility tokens, your XRP, your XDC, your XLM, your Chainlink, your HBAR, your Avalanche, your Ondo. Coins and tokens that actually do something, right? And the more partnerships and adoption and use that these tokens get, the further we will decouple away from Bitcoin. And especially if you factor in that volume bubble that we were talking about with Bitcoin earlier, which I will go back and cover ETF inflows and the Bitcoin volume bubble again here very shortly for you all. I appreciate you all. You are being very active in chat. You all rock. Let's take a look here. Sound is low. Okay, let me scoot up. My mic got twisted on me here. Let me fix it. Is sound better? I apologize. Let's see here. We are looking for XRP. People is low supply, dark pools, OTC, institutional demand. Once they run out, we'll be forced institutions to get on the open market. That comes FOMO and supply shock. Agreed. Once we see the price, I'm going to take this a step further for you, New Wolves. I agree with you on a certain extent. But once those start getting tight, once the price starts to appreciate, that's when they're going to go to the open market. They don't have to be gone from the dark pools and over-the-counter desks for them to start going to the open market, because once the price starts to appreciate, they're going to go buy the best price. And that's when things get interesting. My opinion, not financial advice. BTC will go down to zero in the future. I don't know about zero, but I do think it's going to take a sharp decline at some point in the future. My opinion, not financial advice. My brother-in-law may or may not work at Jane Street. I asked about the price of XRP in the long term this weekend. He just smiled and said, whatever exchange you sell on, make sure they have enough. Well, there you go. There you have it. Not financial advice, but I mean, honestly, if you look at basic supply and demand, it gets pretty easy to see. And maybe I'm crazy, and maybe that's why a lot of people are starting to flock to me at the same time, is because it is very simple. It is very simple. It's outflows and inflows, guys, supply and demand. And if you factor in the fact that things are going to happen, utility is happening, adoption is happening, bank charters are in the wings, there's more ETFs coming down the pipeline. I mean, adoption is here. It is happening. It's a matter of time. My opinion, not financial advice. That's why I'm so excited about it, because it's just like you can see the road. we're walking down the road. Price is down here. We're just waiting to get there. My opinion. To cover all, enough money to cover their XRP. I already have mine on a cold wallet. I have 2 cold wallets. I have institutional custody, and I do have my warm wallets where I can move stuff around. I have very little on my warm wallets. It's mainly to mess around with the Flare network and things like that. Let's see here. BTC has 2 major issues. One, Tether audits are problematic. I didn't even talk about Tether, but yes, you're 100% correct. I try to keep things simple, and Tether audits, that gets, wishy-washy, but I can show volume on a chart very simply for people and show a huge problem. Pictures are worth 1,000 words. But yes, Tether is an issue. Old wallets, including Satoshi wallets, being hackable. Not to mention, there's also talks, and I have to be very careful with what I say. There's been a lot of movements in the Bitcoin wallets, and I've seen people get taken off of YouTube and taken off of Twitter for some of the things they've said. So I'm going to be very careful in how I word this for you all. But there's been a lot of old wallets from the Bitcoin era recently that have decreased their amount of holdings. And for the all-time Bitcoin wallets, if you go back and look at the wallets, there's substantially less whale wallets, and people, the money from the whale wallets has flowed to to large amounts of wallets of people who own less than 1 BTC. Okay, take that information with what you will, but that has been a steady shift over the last 2 years. Not financial advice, but there's substantially more wallets that hold less than 1 BTC now than there was 2 years ago, and there's substantially less wallets that hold vast amounts of BTC than there was a couple years ago. So just food for thought, just throwing it out there. I'm not going to say which wallets because I want to stay on YouTube. Let's see here. I already have mine on a cold wallet. BTC has 2 major issues. I talked about that, but my parents aren't done accumulating. Should I put theirs on a cold wallet early? I firmly believe, because we have to self-custody unless you are using institutional custody. And again, my opinion, not financial advice, for educational purposes only. Depends on the amount of XRP you have, but because we self-custody our assets, I firmly believe you should have multiple sources. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, okay? I have my large basket in institutional custody, insured, put away, that I can take a loan out against later once appreciation happens. That's my plan. I also have 2 cold wallets, and I also have my warm wallets to move stuff around, okay? So, again, all I will say is don't put all your eggs in one basket. I'm not going to say one way is better than the other. And here in the near future, and I'll get into this too as I get through, I have so much to talk about with you guys. I do have some products and services that I will talk to you guys about later. I'm not offering anything yet. I'm not promoting anything yet, but I do have some exciting stuff coming down the pipeline. And I will promise all of you this. When I do start offering products and services, I haven't done it to this point, and I've been very, very purposeful on that, because I want you guys to understand who I am, and I want you to understand why I'm here. There's a lot of hype, and there's a lot of bad actors in this space, and I wanted to come on here and establish a foundation of truth and of calm for you all, and so you understand what I'm saying. My message has not changed. I've said the same thing. So I wanted to prove that. I wanted to come in and set a mark to prove that to you all before I start offering anything, because when I do, I promise and guarantee you it'll be with integrity, and I'm not going to shove things down your throat that I think are not valuable to you or have any kind of value to you. So I just wanted to get that out of the way, because I have been getting a lot of emails and contacts as far as partnerships moving forward. The channel's taking off great, and that's really due to every single one of you. So thank you very, very much. Moving on, back to the comments and back to ETF, what we're covering today. But I wanted to take a minute and talk to you guys about that. I thought it was important.
Better. Volume's better. Good. Utility has been chosen by SWIFT, UN, BIS, IMF as XRP for institutional use, banks and government, XLM for peer-to-peer, small retail order XRP, 1,000 plus, even way more. Very, very possible. Again, we don't have, and again, I am not your hopium guy. I am not your $1,000, $10,000 XRP guy. I'm here for facts, figures, logic, and real things I can present to you. Of course, there have been discussions of partnerships and integration with SWIFT for XRP. I'm more focused on what Ripple has been doing, accumulating so many different elements of the financial infrastructure, right? Ripple Prime, G Treasury, Rail, trying to get their banking charter. I think that's the utility. I think the banking charter is the utility. So once the utility turns on, they're already plugged in. My opinion, not financial advice. So multiple cold wallets and maybe a little bit of XRP on exchanges. You can do exchanges. You can do warm wallets like a Trust wallet, or I don't like Base, but you can do Trust wallet, Base, Bifrost wallet, basically a wallet on your phone that's not an exchange. They may have a DEX available to them. The last place I would keep any crypto is on an exchange. Me personally, because you don't own that crypto. Not your key, not your crypto. Just my opinion. Let's take a look here. Oh my gosh, you guys are so active in the chat. I appreciate every single one of you. I'm still trying to I keep losing my spot. Aunt French, never keep XRP on exchanges. Get it by, I heard Jake Claver say this one time and it's very, very good. I love this line. Exchanges are like public restrooms. Get in, do your business, get out. Like you don't own that crypto. At any point, the exchange could say, thank you for your service. Here's some money. We're taking the crypto back because they own it. Period. End dot. My opinion, not financial advice. Let's see here. Thanks for the clarification. False information given by others. Yeah, there's a lot of confusion over that, Eka. And again, that's why I'm here. I make mistakes too, and that's why, again, very important why everyone should do their own research. Okay, I make mistakes. A lot of these people make mistakes. Okay, even broadcasters and major media people make mistakes, and they have teams of people behind them. Okay, so it's very important that you do your own research, and that's I'm here to try and present the most baseline information I can. And make it entertaining and fun for you, and hopefully I can help some people along the way. That's my goal. Exchanges can take your XRP whenever they want. That's right, Adam. You don't own it. Get your XRP off exchange. I think Janine's got the point. I believe BTC is going to flow to XRP. I agree with you on that, Aunt French. I do think there will be. I don't think it's just going to flow to XRP. I think it's going to flow to all the utility coins. Again. I am not a one-trick pony, right? I'm not a one-coin guy. XRP is my number one for sure because of its use case, adoption, and what it brings to the table. But I think a lot of this is going to be like the internet and the dot-com bubble back in the early 2000s. There's going to be a handful of winners that rise to the top while the rest crashes. So that's what I think we're going to see, the decoupling and the flow, is there's going to be some very clear winners when the pipes turn on. And that's, again, my opinion, not financial advice, but we have historical data to pull back from, and we have the dot-com bubble to look at. And between crypto and AI is which one's going to pop first. It's exciting and scary at the same time as far as which leg of it are we going to be on, right? Let's see here. Guys, hit the like button to support the channel. And I appreciate all of you. Yeah, hit the like button, support the channel. Let's grow it. I'll tell you guys a story once I get there. Okay, I have a story for you next month that I want to share with you all. So I'll get into it then, but I want to get there first. I have a goal I'm trying to hit. Once I hit the goal, I will come on here and share it with you guys, and I'm really excited about it. Let's take a look here. Oh, thank you for informing me. That extra detail, Adam. Let's see here. Audio is better. Utility has been chosen. I talked about that. So multiple cold wallets. Cold wallet. Do you live stream on the weekend? So my posting schedule, and it's up for change, but my posting schedule is I stream at 8:30 in the morning, Monday through Friday, and I do a long form video on Saturday night at 7 p.m. This week, I did a live stream at 7 p.m. on Saturday because I was having head issues. As a lot of you know, I have multiple strokes. I deal with migraines and all kinds of different things, and editing was really messing with my head, so I had to scrap the long form, and I did a live stream so I could still produce a video for you all. So that is my posting schedule. However, I will give you this much as I'm talking about moving forward. I was potentially thinking about adjusting and making the long form video on Saturday into a live stream. I went against that and decided that here next month, One Piece, I'm going to start memberships, and for my members, I will be doing 2 live streams a week on Wednesday and Saturday nights for Q&As and things like that. It'll be special just for my members, a special live stream on Wednesday and Saturday nights. So that'll be in addition to my daily live streams and my weekly long form video and the short form videos that I do as well. And hopefully by then, I also might be able to get, hopefully might be able to get an editor to help me out and keep up with some of the workflow, because be honest with you guys, I mean, live streaming, 3 shorts, long form videos, it's a lot of work on my brain. It really is. It built up fast, but on my bad days, that's tough. Let's see here. I have Tangem. Should I keep the same brand? I personally use Tangem. I mean, there's a lot of good options out there. You got Tangem, Decent. I've heard mixed, even Ledger's mixed. I have Ledger. I've never had a problem with it. Some people don't like Ledger. But I use Ledger and Tangem for my primary too. But there's several good ones out there. EliPal, if you guys have heard of that, have reached out to me recently to be a partner for them. I don't know anything about it. I haven't researched it yet. But that's another one. So there's tons of cold storage wallets out there. I will say, just make sure when you do get a cold storage wallet, get it from the manufacturer. Okay. Go to the manufacturer, get it from them. Don't buy it from Amazon. Don't buy it from some random person. That's how you can get trapdoored and hacked, and we don't want that. So if you do get a cold storage wallet, just make sure you go get it from the manufacturer, okay? And if you want a clean link to a cold storage wallet, I don't have it in all my videos, but there's some of them that have a link to Ledger, and you can go check that out, and it takes you straight to their website, okay? But that would be the only thing I would say, is that when you are buying a cold wallet, make sure you get it directly from the manufacturer. Many people said Satoshi owned BTC. Can someone please tell me who Satoshi is and have anyone seen them? Oh, we're going to get into the lore of crypto. Okay. Let's see here. Let's get into the lore of crypto. So what you're talking about is the creation of Bitcoin there. Tina, I hope I pronounced it right, Tina. What you're talking about is the creation of Bitcoin. It was created by an anonymous person known as Satoshi. No one has been able to confirm who it is. And basically whatever it is, he or she, created the blockchain. And at the beginning of Bitcoin, it was very easy to mine and get Bitcoin. Some people say there's 3 Satoshis. There's many rumors. I'm just giving confirmed data. Okay. There's many rumors and ways it goes about. But so Satoshi, when they launched Bitcoin and launched that blockchain, it was very, very, very easy to mine Bitcoin, right? The proof of work was not as difficult at the very beginning. You could mine Bitcoin. And I got a sad story about that too, back in 2010, 2011. But so basically he launched the blockchain and mined millions. He or they or she mined millions of BTC, put it away in wallets, and it was never moved or touched again. So whenever you hear someone talk about the Satoshi era or Satoshi wallets, people are waiting for this Bitcoin to surface and start selling. And when that happens, that means the bottom's going to fall out. Adam says the CIA. You can watch a bunch of documentaries. There's all kinds of theories on who Satoshi is. Some people think it's multiple people. Some people think it's one person who was a 16-year-old kid. I mean, there's all kinds of theories out there. We'll probably never, ever know. And unfortunately, if we do know, it means something bad happened to Bitcoin. My opinion, not financial advice. Zanman, Exodus, I have not messed with them too much. I've heard very, very good things about Zanam. I have not messed with Exodus at all. Because to be frank, I haven't had to get a new cold wallet in a hot minute. And really, to tell you the truth, the only reason I would probably look into any more cold wallets at this point is if someone was asking me to partner with them. So at that point, I would do my due diligence and my research. And I mean, I have seen things for Zanam. Again, EliPal has reached out to me recently. But again, most importantly, when it comes to cold storage wallets, and I'll beat the desk if I have to, just order it from the just directly from the manufacturer. That's all I say. CIA Satoshi is David Swartz. I don't know about that, but I don't know. Any other questions? I've gone through all the comments. I'm going to do a quick recap here for anyone who's coming to the stream. I appreciate you all. To be honest with you, I don't even know how many people are in here. I could be talking to 5 people. I've switched to OBS for my streaming. Hopefully the mic and the picture and everything is a lot clearer for you, but I can't see how many people are in the actual stream, unfortunately. But so if someone wants to help me out and let me know how many people are in here, I'm going to go ahead and recap everything for you guys real quick. We're going to cover the ETF inflows and we're going to cover BTC. I do have a question here real quick before I get into that. Let me go ahead and cover that. Can you explain how you would take loans against your XRP instead of selling it outright when it gets to the right place? That'll be up to institutions. Okay. So basically you would go to an institution, they would hold it for you, and you could borrow against it. And basically what they're going to do is they might borrow against it too. They're not going to do it for free, right? But you borrow against it and then you pay them back. And that's why it's important. I've said in the past that if I do borrow against my XRP, it's going to be no more than 20%. Because if you borrow, some places will let you borrow up to 50, 60, 80%. Some people will let you borrow up to 50, 60, 80% against your digital assets. And that's why we had that crypto crash on October 10th. Right? Because if you have that much margin, because that is margin when you borrow against your assets, when you have that much margin against it and 60%, and then boom, half of the value falls out of XRP in 5 minutes, everyone got liquidated. Like that's not going to be me. That's why I will only borrow up to 20% of my bag, period. Because I do not want to be margin called. I do not want to be liquidated. This is a volatile market. And you need to protect yourselves. And right now, I'm not borrowing anything. So again, that's what happened, and that's why there was so much pain on October 10th, is because so many people were doing really well. They had millions and millions of dollars worth of assets, and they borrowed millions worth of it, and then they got liquidated and lost it all immediately like that. Boom, in a flash, in one spike. All right, so let's go ahead and get into ETF recoveries. Or ETF recoveries. We touched on the ETFs right at the beginning of this live stream when we first got going, and we're going to get back into it now. That's what we're here to track. We've covered everything. I've covered the chat. Y'all are amazing. I'm going to come back to the chat after I recap ETFs. Keep it going. Keep it rolling, everyone. I appreciate every single one of you. And be sure, for context, if you guys want to help the channel, the best thing you can do to support the channel, honestly, is to like the video and engage in the chat and comment. The more engaging you guys are with the content, the more people it's going to show it to. It tells YouTube, we like this guy and we want to see more of what he has to say, and we think other people might want to see more of what he has to say. If you guys don't get any value from these videos, later. But I'm gonna keep going. Moving on. Let's get into ETFs. All right. So I'm going to pull up. There we go. Pull up XRP. We were looking at the all-time chart earlier, kind of going over volumes and things like that. But let's see where we are right now. I'm going to go scroll in here, and we're going to go back to the 1 hour chart because I like the 1 hour chart. That's what I always use. I believe anything less is just it's too volatile to really get an idea of what's happening. So really, we're still at 2073, and this is very good. I'm going to tell you why this is good. I understand we don't have a price pump. This is good. Okay, we'll get into the ETFs in a second, but just the regular price in and of itself, 2074, good. Let me get here. We did not have a sell the news event. This is huge. If we maintain this $2 level, let me go back to it now. If we maintain this $2 level and set a new floor, this is going to give us the opportunity to pump as the ETF inflows continue to come. This is what I know everyone was saying wind, moon, and all that. I just wanted to make sure we held $2 moving into Thanksgiving and moving into December. If we set a new floor of $2 with that $1.75 shelf below us that we talked about, that $3.1 billion buy that happened a few days ago. So we have two shelves. If we hold this $2, we have two shelves. We have the $2 shelf and the $1.75 shelf with multiple ETF inflows coming in. This is exactly what I was preparing for. Oh my goodness, it's great when everything happens the way you say you think it will. Oh my goodness. Let's see here. So yeah, we are sorry, it went exactly the way I thought. It's validating me. I'm sorry. I'm taking a minute to appreciate that everything I've been saying for 2 months is coming to pass. It feels good. Let's see here. So let's get back. Sorry, my victory lap there. Let's get back into the ETFs here. Let me pull it up for you. All right. So we covered this earlier. This is the Grayscale ETF, and you can see when we looked at it earlier, I'll refresh the screen, but when we looked at it earlier, Grayscale started with right here. Here it is. This is the right one. Total XRP in trust, 6,017,000. So they started today with 6 million. We will keep an eye on this number moving throughout the week and see how it changes to give you context of what we are looking at for that. Now, here's the thing. Everyone says, what's going on with the ETFs? I'm showing you this. I'm not showing you the prices of the ETFs. The prices of the ETFs mean nothing. The up and down of the market really means nothing. What we're looking for is how much effective supply is being removed. That's what's going to cause the price to go up. That's what's going to cause a supply shock. Price is noise, okay? The inflows is what's going to make the difference. So we have 6 million XRP to start Grayscale. I wonder if Franklin Templeton's updated theirs yet. Let's take a look at Franklin Templeton's ETF and see if they've updated anything yet. They still are not updating it. They probably won't update this till tomorrow, I'm guessing. So right now they're still not showing their XRP in fund for Franklin Templeton. We're going to look at Canary Capital. Canary Capital currently 146,137,000 XRP being held. Market value 283,000. Let's look at Bitwise. Remember, they've only been going for what, 2 days? Currently 59,565,000 XRP being held. This is effectively being removed from supply. And this is the beginning. During a bad market, guys, it's coming. I can't wait. We talked about the fear and greed index, extreme fear. We're at a 14. This is typically indicative before the biggest moves that happen in the market, guys. We've talked about XRP shortage on exchanges. You can Google it. You can get 50 million articles. Okay. TradingView, analysts predict XRP supply crisis. Billions in XRP are disappearing from exchanges. XRP shortage on exchanges is insane. Like, literally, just scroll. You'll find anything. Now, some of these are BS. Some of them are actually good. But if you want to take it a step further, you can ask AI, and AI will tell you the same thing. There's about 3 to 6 billion XRP left on exchanges. Now, again, we've discussed ad nauseum that they are going to come from OTCs and dark pools. Remember, dark pools are exchanges. It's just not, and a lot of the over-the-counter stuff is exchanges too. It's still the spot market. It's just not directly impacted by the price. It's not creating immediate buying pressure. It's quietly removing the supply. And it's that way for a reason, everybody. The reason they do that is so there isn't huge volatility spikes in XRP. Because if you have a major moneymaker coming in and buying $3 billion worth of XRP, what is that going to do to the price if someone has to go to an exchange and do it? And that's what we're hoping happens once the supply shock and the supply squeeze happens. And there are numerous people talking about it, not just YouTubers. They're real financial analysts talking about a supply squeeze, a shortage of supply for XRP could come. And that's what a lot of people are banking on. Let's see here. What do I think about Flare? I'll get back to you on that. Again, ask any other questions coming in. I will bounce back and forth. And as long as the stream is going, where it says someone just said we're at 40 people right now. As long as the stream is going and the stream is growing, I will keep going. So feel free to blow up the chat. I'll party with all of you. I'm an XRP Army guy at heart, and I love being able to chat with like-minded individuals. So as long as we're growing, I'm going to keep streaming. All right, moving along. We covered how ETFs are going today. What do you think about Flare? Flare, I don't have enough data. Check back. I've started messing with it. I sent over 100 XRP. Well, I end up converting like 84 XRP when it was all said and done or something like that to the wrapped Flare. And I'm working on deploying that now. As soon as I have more data, I'll give you guys some information on that. Let's see here. Can you explain how you would take loans against XRP instead of selling it. I already explained that. Sorry. Supposedly sending multiple transfers to your cold wallet is fine, but once you send a transfer back out, change your wallet address for security purposes. I haven't heard that. I'll be honest with you. I've been around a while. I haven't heard that statement. But honestly, my cold wallets have never sent anything out. They've only ever hold and checked. Let's see here. XRP will hit 350, 500 by end of the year. I hope you're right. I hope you're right. Again, if you guys are new to the stream, we said it in the stream yesterday. A lot of us have already determined if Jake Claver is right, and it does go to 750 by the end of the year. Not what I'm predicting. It's just a fun joke, a fun idea. But if Jake Claver is right and it goes to 750 by the end of the year, we're gonna have a party in Maui in January. Longview Compute Party in Maui. How's the ETF going today? I just recapped the ETF. What do you think about Flare? I just talked about that. Prediction price of XRP, sir. Again, I say the same thing every time. I do not make predictions, but I will give you possibilities. Because the price is noise, really. I'm looking at the mechanics of what's happening behind the scenes. But that being said, if a supply shock does happen, I have always said that I believe that the price will start to increase at the end of November, going into December, through to the end of the year, or through into the new year, due to supply shock once all these ETFs are live and start effectively removing supply from the exchange or from the removing XRP from the supply, And that is actually what we are seeing unfold now. We have 4 ETFs live, prices steadily rising. And me personally, my opinion has been that the price will steadily rise from this point on throughout the end of the year. We may have another blowback. We may have another pullback, and that is going to come from macroeconomic data or an issue with Bitcoin, like we were discussing potentially the decoupling of Bitcoin. And I'm going to pull that up real quick because there's a lot of newer people in the stream. And a lot of people, when they hear, oh, Bitcoin's going to crash, they think I'm full of it or whatever, or I'm trying to sell hype, or get clicks or any of that stuff. There's a million different reasons. But let me pull up Bitcoin for y'all real quick. And I'm just, the main thing I have always said about Bitcoin is it's a store of value. It's digital gold. I hold Bitcoin. Full disclosure, I hold Bitcoin. But if we go all time on Bitcoin and look at the volume and what Bitcoin has actually done, you can see that the trading volume at the beginning of Bitcoin versus where it's been now, and all of this price appreciation has been with hollow volume. That is exactly what a bubble looks like. I mean, am I crazy? Let me know in the chat. What do you guys think? I mean, that is textbook description of what a bubble looks like, right? Anyone? That concerns me. My opinion, not financial advice. When you're looking at this hollow volume with this increasing price, and you can see it coming. I mean, look, you can see it. That's scary. That's concerning to me. My opinion, not financial advice. But that is my theory on Bitcoin. That's the simple theory on Bitcoin. This is going to be huge, man. XRP supply shock coming. Bring on the reverse carry trade in Japan. Yeah, we've talked about that at nauseum too. Back end of the stock market, let's go. DTCC, their words, did say that their first thing would be using distributive ledger technology to settle the back end of the stock market. From the DTCC, do we know anyone who has that kind of technology? Or do we know anyone who might be partnered with the DTCC already that has that kind of technology? Not financial advice, guys. Read the tea leaves, connect the dots. You are correct, sir. Let's see here. The reason I said change your wallet address, etc., is due to quantum computing in the future, so not for right now. 100% agree with you, Adam. That's honestly why I moved most of my bag into institutional custody, was because of the threat of quantum computing and hacking. So I made sure that my bag that I buried in the dirt, if you will, right, that I'll never sell, is locked away and secure. Let's see here. Do you think altcoin season will ever come? Okay, Albert, I'm gonna pee in your Cheerios, man. I've said this a couple times. I think that the traditional cycles for crypto are done. Speculation's over. People want utility. People want adoption. There's clarity. There's adoption. There's ETFs. There's real things happening. Okay. Now, granted, there's still going to be some altcoins and some meme coins and things like that pump, but I'm not focused on that. I'm focused on utility. I'm focused on adoption. I'm focused on what's going to be used. I'm focused on numbers, facts, figures, logic that I can track in real time. And because of that, I personally, and I'll be honest, I haven't followed the altcoin season as heavily as a lot of other people out there. But my ultimate premise is that altcoin season's over. We have moved out of speculation, and we are now into utility and adoption phase of these assets. My opinion, not financial advice, but I want to be honest with you on where I sit on that. Let's see here. Do you think, okay, it's to do with Doge contract when sending out one wallet for transaction, one wallet savings account. When do you think ETFs will generate a spike on price? I didn't say they were going to spike. I said we were going to see a steady increase starting at the end of November through December into January. I don't think there's going to be a massive spike. I don't think the massive spike comes until the utility gets turned on. Bank charter, Fed master account, pipes start flowing. We need the price to rise for them to utilize it effectively, right, as a liquidity bridge. And again, we're going to know that before it happens with the Clarity Act, because in order for them to utilize XRP as a liquidity bridge, it's going to need to be classified as such. Otherwise, every time someone buys and sells XRP to use it as a bridge, they have to pay capital gains tax on it. There's very real mechanisms you can look at in all of these theories and theses to see what's coming and how it's going to come. Okay? So in order for all of this to come to pass, you're going to need clarity dubbing that XRP is a bridge asset. And you're going to need clarity dubbing that as either a bridge asset or a currency, so there's no capital gains taxes on it. Otherwise, companies are not going to use it for its purpose because they're going to pay taxes every single time. So you're going to see there's going to be breadcrumbs laid out in front of us to look at on how this is going to flow. Okay, you're going to get indicators. And one of the first indicators we were looking at was the ETFs. That was what was going to start removing the supply. And we've gone through it, and I'll go through it again if you want. I've gone through it 4 or 5 times. But 200 million XRP gone from supply in 1 week from one ETF and 1 or 2 days of the other ETF. So 9 days of spot ETFs and 200 million XRP leaves supply. All right. It takes time. And I have never been on here spouting hopium to any of you. I have told you my theory, and I'm showing you in real time how it's playing out. And I think that's really cool. It's because it doesn't need to be difficult. Facts, figures, logic, numbers. There are real things we can track. We need to see a bank charter. We need to see clarity. We need to see inflows removing XRP from exchanges. We have one. We need the other 2. And that's Win Moon, as everyone likes to ask. Win Moon, Win Moon, Win Moon. Let's see here. What are the estimates of reported XRP in the dark pools and the OTC? Currently, now remember, we can't necessarily track available XRP that the money makers are holding, because those are individual authorized participants approved in the SEC filing. So there are people who actually go out and purchase XRP and hold it. And so that way, when the ETF needs to create new shares, they go to the authorized participants, get their XRP, create new shares. New share creation is when XRP is effectively removed from the supply. These money makers can be OTCs, they could be dark pools, or they could be individuals. And I pointed out that an individual, or maybe not necessarily an individual, but an entity a few days ago made a $3.1 billion purchase of XRP, okay, at the $1.75 mark. So it's really impossible to determine how quickly it's going to drain the supply. It depends on who sells, right? It's ultimately going to come down to the broader macroeconomic sentiment on who's selling their XRP. Because if people are selling their XRP, then nothing's being removed from supply. So really, that's why the macroeconomic part of it is very important. But the key piece is that there are major players buying hundreds of millions of XRP now that we did not have a month ago. Okay, so just some food for thought. Let's see here. What is your exit strategy? $10, $100? I am a buy and die kind of guy. I'm not selling my XRP. I have it in institutional custody. I plan on taking out a loan of no more than 20%. reinvesting in cash flow, and then taking that money to build protection and more cash flow, and also invest in more deflationary assets. It's a vicious cycle. You just keep recycling the money back into yourself. That's my plan. Let's see here. The past 3 months, it's been steady down. You're absolutely right. The past 3 months, it's been steady down, and that's usually what it looks like before it goes up. But it hasn't necessarily been the past 3 months it's been steady down. I mean, there has been ups and flows. We were at $3 in June, but the entire market has been down. It's not just XRP. Let's be honest. And again, we have not decoupled from Bitcoin. We've talked about that ad nauseum. So this price movement has nothing to do with XRP's adoption and use case. My opinion, not financial advice. It's following Bitcoin. And until it decouples from Bitcoin, which won't happen until we have supply shock potentially, or utility, or Fed master account, it's going to be more of the same. I'm not here to tell you guys what you want to hear. I will tell you the truth. And if, sometimes you have to call a spade, and it's following Bitcoin right now until we have something change. Let's see here. Pastor Matt. Buy a property in Dubai for $500K, get a golden visa for 10 years. Now you have residency and can open a bank, 0% on capital gains, wink, wink. I thought you had to have 10 million in assets to open a bank. Oh, you're talking about Dubai. You're talking about something different. I was talking about becoming my own sovereign wealth fund and becoming an actual bank. Excuse me. But yeah, I mean, if you want to move to Dubai, great. I want to be on the beach. That's where I'm going. Wherever I go, it's gonna be warm, and there's gonna be ocean. I love the ocean. OTC and dark pool is running down. Ripple has $4 billion for institutional buys at 20% discount. As soon as they come for retail, that's when the supply shock happens. Just remember, again, Ripple cannot sell to anyone other than their business partners for utility use only. They cannot sell to institutions for ETFs. They cannot sell to money makers. They cannot do any of those things. What institution do I use? Speak to me at a later date. More to come on that. Okay. I will give you guys all the information here in the near future. Okay. I'll have an announcement next month about what I'll be doing with the channel going forward. I made a brief statement on this before that I have not taken in any partnerships. I have not taken in any affiliates. I have not been trying to sell you guys any one-on-ones. I wanted to come on here and prove to you who I am, and I am not another hype person, and prove to you my thesis, lay it all out there for you guys so you can see who I really am, because I want to operate this channel with a sense of integrity that I know does not exist on YouTube very often. So I just want you guys to know that when I do roll out a product, or when I do roll out something that I think has value, I will attribute it that way specifically for you. So that's my long-winded answer to your institutional custody use. I am working on a partnership agreement with that could potentially go live either next month or in January. I do have lots of the channel has been growing great, and I do have lots of things in the pipeline. So there's a lot more to come. I have already told you guys memberships are coming next month. And with memberships will come bi-weekly live streams, 2 live streams a week just for you all, as well as probably I'm working on doing a weekly newsletter as well. So all of those things are in the pipeline. There's lots. The channel is growing rapidly. I appreciate all of you. How many people do we have in the stream right now? Anybody? Someone want to let me know? I can't see it on OBS here, but I feel like how long have we even been going? How long have we been streaming? I don't even know. Hour and 20 minutes? Oh my goodness. How many people are in the stream? Anyone who's come in, welcome. If it's your first time, kick back, relax, enjoy yourself. We're just having a party at this point. I've covered inflows. I've covered everything. We've had great conversations in this live stream. Any other questions, comments, concerns? We got 50 people in the stream. Welcome. Appreciate all of you. The more we have talking, chatting, the more you like, the more you engage in the chat, the more people will come in. The more that's honestly the most indicative thing of a stream growing. If you guys didn't know, the more you chat, the more I can engage with the chat, the more it grows. So keep the energy up. I need more questions, thoughts, comments. I'm taking a drink. I'm dying of thirst here. Sorry, guys. And no, I do not have a partnership from Coke or Coke Zero in that regard. Questions, comments, concerns? You want me to start rapping? I love Nelly. I feel like I'm losing, y'all. Are we dying? Do I need to end it? Anyone want to chat? All right. Looks like we're winding down. Hey, it was a great stream nonetheless. I appreciate every single one of you. I will be doing updates throughout the day with shorts as far as the inflows coming from the ETFs. I will keep the news going. And then first thing tomorrow morning at 8:30, we'll get on here and we will see exactly what the inflows are for day one and how it's going to impact the price of XRP moving forward. Grayscale, Franklin Templeton, all running. So what do we got right now? We got Canary Capital, we got Bitwise, we got Franklin Templeton, we got Grayscale, all live right now. 4 ETFs live, pulling hundreds of millions of XRP off of exchange or off of supply every single week. And we have 2 more coming, 21 shares and Wisdom Tree, all waiting to run off. So, as always, I appreciate every single one of you. I will see you guys tomorrow morning, and we will cover all the inflows together and see where we're at, okay? Later.